The original audio on this video was terrible, so I'm doing voiceover while playing it back on the computer. So first of all, you need warm water. From the hot tap is usually fine if your hot tap water is clean. Otherwise, mix boiling water half with cold water. Yeast, you can use dried yeast or fresh yeast. You need 2 teaspoonfuls, which I think is 2 times 7 grams, or is it just 7 grams? I don't know, you need to read the sachets if you use sachets. Mix it up well in water. Make sure it's fully dissolved or fully mixed in with the water. And flour, strong flour or bread flour is best. Otherwise, use whatever you've got lying around, or whatever you can get hold of during these COVID times. 450 grams of flour. Just zero your scales with a bowl on them, it's a lot easier that way. One teaspoon of salt. If you like salty food, you can put 2 teaspoons in. But I use 1 teaspoon. And then just chuck in the mixture of yeast and water. And gently mix it. It's quite sloppy at this point. Use an electric mixer if you have one. This mixture gets quite stiff, and you need to have some good arm muscles if you don't have a mixer. Make sure you combine it all. One good idea is to sift the flour beforehand, because sometimes you get lumps of flour left behind. But I suppose if you're mixing it in a mixer, that probably takes care of that. You can actually see the lumps in this mix, and they do show after it's baked. But it doesn't affect the quality of the bread in any way. Now you just cover it up for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, you preheat your oven to 230 degrees centigrade or Celsius. And see it's risen to touch the towel. That's what I'm pointing to there. And you'll be baking it in the oven for 40 minutes. I also do half this mixture and make 4 rolls. And I bake the rolls at 230 degrees centigrade for 25 minutes, and they come out lovely. So if you're using this mixture, as you see here, you'd make 8 rolls. And I assume the baking time would be roughly the same, maybe increased to half an hour if you're baking them all together. But for a loaf you need 40 minutes. I was struggling here because I was pouring it into the into the baking container, pouring it away from me so the camera could see. It's a lot easier if you do it towards yourself. Now into the oven for 40 minutes. Problem with those silicone containers, as you see there, it expands. So if you have a tin or metal container, you can put the silicone one inside, because the silicone one's very non-stick. Just leave it on the rack to cool down. While it's still warm enough to melt the butter, you take off the crust and try it out. That's all there is to it. Today I baked 2 loaves and 8 rolls. Was it 2 loaves or 3 loaves? Might have been 3 loaves. I think it was 3 loaves and 8 rolls actually. It's only because my yeast is getting old and it needs to be used up. Well, that's it. You can see it's bouncy bread. It's not light bread. It's just easy bread, easy to make, and it freezes fine. Always store it with the open, the cut end down or covered, so it doesn't dry out. But it lasts a good few days. As with any bread, it gets harder over time. But I slice mine and stick it all in the freezer sliced. I'll just take out slices as I need them. Yum yum.